Hi, everyone. Um, I have been receiving a lot of emails in regards to a video that another family put out who has left Ghana. Where they interviewed with another YouTuber. And I've been getting a lot of videos like, um, respond to that, can you give us some insight, blah, 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 blah. And it's more than one person who sent me this video. And I decided that I wasn't in this 2022, I'm not going to respond to other people's stuff unless y'all pay me to do such a thing. So someone put their money where their mouth is and said, well, we value your time and opinion. So I'm giving you some money to go ahead and make this video. And I recommend that if you want me to comment or say something about anything that you see, that is the direction that I will need to go from now on, because my time is more valuable. I have investors in a new company. I have, I have responsibilities. Hey, good morning. Hi, Africa. Big up. Hey, thank you. Morning. Yeah, so I have responsibilities. So if you would like, if there's anything out in the YouTube sphere that you would like old Renee to comment on, email me exodusafrica1@gmail.com. And this is a paid video by request. It's not my first, but I think this is the direction that I probably need to go in if I'm going to, start, if I'm taking requests from people, because number one, my channel is not monetized. Um, you know, uh, I'm not going to jump through hoops to try to meet the YouTube data, whatever, and attack other people or do negative things just to try to get myself out there and visible and say things that doesn't need to be said, just to try to get some YouTube ups and likes and shares. That's not who I am, and I still have to confront my spirit at the end of the day. So that's not me as a person. So I'm going to go into this. I made a list, right? So first of all, the video that I'm speaking of was in reference to a family that has been in Africa before I got here, and I saw them on YouTube before I got here, and I thought to myself, they're in Accra. It's a husband, it's a wife, children, and I'm like, they seem financially well off and settled. And I'm a single mom, right? So I didn't necessarily apply the things that I was learning or seeing from them to my particular situation. And I think a lot of people need to do that as well. You cannot take a single person or a young person who has no children, who has no settled life, and apply that to your life, right? I saw other people who were married and had their life settled, and I thought, oh, at least she has a safety net. And I didn't follow their journey because they weren't speaking to me. I am coming from a completely different place, mentally, psychologically, financially. And so I had to put myself in a different category of how I took and applied information. And I suggest you do that as well. So this particular family, they were here and they were living well. And I was like, oh, good on them. That's fantastic, right? But I knew Accra was expensive, and it was one of the reasons why it was not my number one choice, because it had gotten overpopulated with foreigners, and that was driving up the cost of everything. So I knew that wasn't my choice. So number one is decide what you want to do, right? Based on financial situation and lifestyle. Let me see. Okay. All right. So let me just remove some of these people here. Remove some of those comments. and block some of these. Okay. All right. Let me get into this. I don't have a lot of time. It's the start of my day, so I'm just gonna do this video quickly, and then I will get into the specifics to Tanzania. Okay. So this particular family, they were here, and I admired them for being here. But the route they were taking is not a route that Renee would have taken. So I did not necessarily subscribe to them and go, "Wow, I want to be like that." No, because I knew my situation was different. My life is different. My lifestyle is different. And so there were certain things that I saw that I could not apply to me. And you need to do that as well. You need to look at what you're consuming and who you're idolizing and what kind of life they're living and how to apply that to yourself. Okay, take what you see with a grain of salt. Everyone's situation is different. Do not idolize us on YouTube because our lives are completely different, probably from yours. But at the same time, you want people who have the same lifestyle pattern as you do. That's what you would want to take advice and information from and take notes from. Lifestyle pattern. Okay, so this is not to say that a couple couldn't take advice from a single person, or a single person can't take advice from a couple, but look at lifestyle patterns of how are these people living, how are they able to support themselves, how are they taking care of themselves, what is their playbook like, and see what you can take from there. Okay, so the number one thing that I wanted to get on with that particular video is we need to learn how to be kinder to people. At the beginning, the lady was very specific. She said that she came to Ghana temporarily. Okay, she came temporarily. Now, if you go somewhere temporarily, you're on vacation. You're always on. You come to have a good time. And then she said COVID hit, and they ended up having to stay longer than the 8 months that they planned for. That is huge. That is huge. Imagine packing your bags and going somewhere and say, "Oh, I'm just going to be gone for 8 months. I'm just going to be gone for a few months. I'm going to enjoy these few months." And then a global pandemic hits, and you suddenly have to figure out what you're going to do with your life, with these kids, with your husband, with you. Y'all need to understand that when people come to Africa, it depends on what their goals are or what their mission is, right? So know if it's long-term or temporary. That's what you need to figure out. Am I coming here for 1 year? Okay. And if you're coming here for 1 year, can I foreseeably be there for longer? Now, did these people foresee that they would be in Ghana for 2 whole entire years after? No, they didn't. So please stop knocking them and stop being negative and stop, "Oh, they didn't plan and they didn't do this and they didn't do that." You know what? I support them for even making the attempt. I appreciate them for even getting on a plane and choosing Ghana over somewhere in Australia or New Zealand or in Spain or in Italy or any of the other places that were still, tropical and European-esque. They chose Africa, right? And they got to extend themselves longer than they needed to in Ghana. So please, I'm not about to get on here and speak negative about any person who chose Africa over all the other places. So we have to learn to be kinder about that. Okay. So even if your journey is going to be short term, right? You say, "Okay, I'm going to go there for a year and I'm going to go chill. I'm going to give my child this 1 year experience in Africa." Even if that is your objective, right? You should also make arrangements, plans, should in case you're there longer, right? So you have to strategize on exactly how long you expect to be there, and how long do you think that you can sustain yourself there, right? So let's see. Let me move on down the list. The next, is this right? So is it temporary? Is it permanent? And if it's a permanent move, you have to be more strategic about this move if it's permanent, right? So if it's permanent, I suggest that you have a well-established means of earning a foreign stream of income. If you are in a kind of business that you can outsource your services online, that's what you need to do. And it should be established before you get here. You should be earning that money before you get here. You should be, receiving some kind of income from overseas before you get here. Whether that is going to be in having a real estate that you've rented out, and you put a real estate attorney in charge of collecting your rent and paying your taxes, things like that. You should have a stream of revenue before you come, because even though the cost of living might be lower here, it is not cheap. Okay, so a lot of people will work out the exchange rate to say, okay, $1 gives me 2,000 T shilling, and and so I'm rich, right? But if you compare that to the quality of life and the cost of living of what that will give you, you will realize that that money goes real quick. Which brings me to the next thing. Invest. Invest the little that you have, okay? And there are many ways of doing this. When I came to Tanzania, I was looking around for investment properties, right? I rented a house for myself, and then I saw the need of the people coming in and the people reaching out to me, and I went to these townhouses that are across the street from the Exodus house, and I rented 3 of them at the same time. One was for a lady who is still here, and the other 2 I was going to keep for myself for rental income, right? And while going back and forth over there, I found the Exodus house was just this abandoned place across. And instead of continuing my rental there, I took the money from there and put it on the Exodus house, right? So you should seek to invest the little that you have. Look around for opportunities, look around for what your needs are to maintain your family, and invest in that, whether it's investing in a company or investing in, if you go back to this channel, I think it's probably the 3rd week in, when I was riding down the road with Mama Sharifa, I said that you can invest in a lot in Tanzania. You can invest in the cement company. You can invest in mining companies. You can invest in the stock exchange. That is something that I have always done. I have been investing in the stock market since I was 21 years old. So you invest the little that you have, because there are days when you don't know where it's coming from. And on those days, you have to be able to count on your investment, right? So invest, and then also diversify, right? Don't just look at making an income on YouTube. YouTube is shaky and unreliable, and it's sketchy as all kinds of hell. Okay, not all that it's cracked up to be. There are people out there who take it for a job. They work out the algorithms. They figure out exactly how they're going to make some money, and and so you have to figure out exactly how you are going to work the YouTube algorithms, right? And there's only so much interviews and stories and back and forth in diaspora news that you can report on, right? People want fresh and new and different entertainment. And so you have to figure out, is your strategy just the diaspora, or is it content that everyone else can watch and get those numbers up for you and put money in your pocket, right? So, you have to think outside of the box of YouTube. If you're going for the route of a YouTube channel, remember my channel, as I said before, is not monetized. So YouTube is not my strategy. So I don't know how to tell people how to live on YouTube, because I could not and I will not. Okay. So diversification also means investing in the local community. Look around, see what the local community is offering you. What can you send back home? What can you sell? What kind of store? What kind of website? What kind of business can you get involved in that you can put out to the international market? Is it fabric? Is it fashion? Is it craft? Is it everything? The world is hungry for Africa. The world is hungry for Africa and goods from Africa, okay? And that you are here with your Western ideas and you know what people back home want, you have an opportunity to become an importer. You are an exporter. You have an opportunity to purchase from the locals. And that's how you get involved in the local, with your local people. Find out what they have that could, be shipped easily. What are the needs are. I mean, there are plenty of spices all over this continent that if you said squarely, I'm focusing on this one particular spice, you can be a spice trader and you can trade that into a European country, into the United States. You can trade that, and that could bring in a lot of income, and you can work when you want to work and how you want to work for yourself. So diversify. Be outside of yourself. I think the problem is a lot of people are out of ideas, or they're not exposed to other things that they can do, and they're just stuck in this world of working. So a lot of people who are coming are not necessarily entrepreneur minded. They don't know how to look at things and call it opportunity. They can look at an obstacle, but they don't know how to translate that obstacle into an opportunity. Okay. Next, number 4, budget. Budget is extremely important. Budget, you know exactly how much it costs you to live, right? You know when these bills are due. You know who is depending on you. You know what you spend for food every month. You can't just come out here and willy-nilly and say, well, I'm just going to go shopping and pick up some stuff. You have to know what you spend every month on food, okay? And you have to also have reserves for food. When I came out here, I know there is no safety net, there is no help, there is no nothing. And I was not under the illusion that my my scholarship or my grant, my documentary film grant, was going to get me through the rest of my natural life. I know that. Right? But I also know that I came here for the long term. I came here to raise a child. And it takes a long time to raise a child from the age of 4 all the way up until they're 18. That's 14 whole years. So I have to plan, budget, figure out exactly how am I going to sustain myself and a child on my own. Okay? And it's not easy. It is not easy. It's tough. And it was particularly tough for me because the plan that I had laid out in front of me changed. It changed 1 month after I got here. I had no intention of I have this 9-month-long construction project that's going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. I had no idea that I would have that laid out in front of me. I had no idea that I would have to jump into that. Okay. But I saw it as an opportunity. And now I'm no longer, in the mental space that I was when I came to Tanzania, but I knew that engineering this new spaceship was going to be of value to to um to the long run, right? And so I had to jump in that and plan and budget. Plan and budget carefully. Know how much you're spending, know what you're spending, know how it's coming back. I can know months ahead what my situation is going to be. And so you have to define a specific place. You have to say, okay, in June, this is what I want. But if you don't start working for June and January, you're not going to hit where you need to be, right? You're not going to hit where you need to be. So you know what you need to do in June. You know what expectations are coming in 6 months' time, and you plan that. You plan it carefully. The good thing here and the bad thing, well, in Ghana, I know that the rent is due every year. That is a lot of money to come up with at once, and it's expensive, right? Thank you, Photon. Yes. So, but here it's every 6 months, right? So I know every 6 months that I have this lump sum of money, this ginormous lump sum of rent that is coming my way. So I start to plan for that. JoJo school fees is another JoJo school fee is about the same amount as my rent. And hers is due every term. And so I'm paying that and then the rent. So I don't get any breaks in between. So I have to properly plot and plan carefully. And my landlady can tell you, I would rather pay my rent early and pay her bit by bit early than pay late, because I know the demands on my pocket. I know I have staff to pay. I know I have people to pay. And so before I put myself in a position where I'm behind, I will put myself in a position where I'm ahead. Okay? And that is essential. You have to also be ahead, be on top of these things. And so that brings me to this other point, is know when to pull out, right? Don't wait until you are busted, broke, and can't buy a plane ticket to get out of Africa. Know when to pull out. Know when, okay, I can see in the foreseeable future, unless something happens drastically to change this course of broke nation, right? Unless something happens to change this course, I am not going to make it. So don't wait until you are face down in the dirt. Excuse me. Don't wait for that to happen. Plan properly to say, okay, in the next 3 or 4 months, this is going to be my position. I am going to make proper arrangements for my belongings. I'm going to make proper arrangements for everything. And you leave in a dignified way, in the same way that you came here, full of energy and excitement and dignity. You leave with the same kind of energy and dignity and happiness in your heart. Okay? Because things happen, circumstances happen, life happens to everyone, right? And so I'm trying to convey to you that you have to have some kind of long-term vision, especially if you don't have a consistent and reliable source of income, right? So, those are some of the things. And the other thing that I wanted to say is Plan B. What is Plan B? Do you have a Plan B? Is your Plan A your Plan B? For me, my Plan A is my Plan B. I am going to work Plan A until Plan A, in various forms demonstrates itself. Plan A, B, C, D, E, I'll go all the way down, right? So you have to be flexible in working your plan. So for me, like I said, my objective was to come here to raise a child. I'm not going to raise a child dragging her from one country to another and one continent to the next. I'm not going to do that. So I dig my heels in, and whenever the high tide comes and the rough seas come, I am anchored well. Okay. But then again, back to the video that you asked me to make, this is, I'm autonomous. I am the only parent. I'm the decision maker. I'm the key decision maker. The buck stops here. When you see a family, there is a lot a lot of moving parts, a lot of decisions, a lot of considerations, a lot of things that come into play that maybe I would write it out, maybe my husband would not, right? And so you have to think about these things when you see these videos. You have to consider all of the different diversity of ideas that go into the decisions that they make for themselves, right? And so it comes back to making the right decision for you, making the right decision for your family and your financial situation, right? And so you have to figure out how you're going to make this visible and workable, right? So, I feel bad for the family that left. Again, they said that their journey was supposed to be temporary. It's a big thing if you are going somewhere temporarily and then you end up being there long term during the time of a global freaking pandemic. I mean, you can lose your whole entire shirt like that. And they're not the only ones. There are a lot of people who came to Tanzania and said they came out to ride out the pandemic should in case they're going to go to the Gambia when it opens or elsewhere. A lot of people came with that. And a lot of people ended up spending longer. People did not foresee that this pandemic was going to drag us 2 years down the road. So, be generous in your judgments of people, and if their plans don't work out, pray for them, learn to pray for other people as well as yourself, and keep your head down and focus on what it is that you're trying to accomplish out of this this move. This is a huge, huge, huge thing. Your entire psychological, mental, spiritual, financial, every single essence of your life is going to be sucked up into this moving to Africa. Every part of you is going to be transformed moving to Africa, right? So you have to be prepared for what you don't see. So someone had mentioned the visa information here. I do not give out any kind of visa advice on this YouTube channel. I am not immigration. I'm not a lawyer. But I do consult with people privately, and I do tell them what I know and what the experience may be. And I'm going to say my experience may not be your experience. And there is a lot of things that can be done, but don't sit there and say, well, people are leaving because of this or because of that, and I'm not going to go. Well, you don't know exactly what their situation is. You don't know exactly what their circumstances are. You don't know what were the other factors. And for those of you who are making these videos about, well, I left Tanzania because of this and because of that, go back and watch that video with that I'm referring to. I think Vanessa Canby's channel. Yeah, Vanessa Canby, and it was the Achiapong family, why they left Ghana and why they're never coming back. And they were very vulnerable and very direct and very honest about why they left, right? And so you have to be cognizant of that and of what people are putting out. Some people did not budget and plan properly. I'm not saying this is her case. I'm saying that she had a short-term achievement and she ended up being here longer. And so you can't take that and say, well, see, she even they left us. No. Like I said, learn to be kinder. And learn to be more intelligent in the way that you process information and in your listening skills. Learn to apply some level of kindness, but also in that video, she was very vulnerable and she was very honest, right? And so people who are putting out these videos about why they left and this, that, and the third, be honest, tell the truth, speak the truth. Don't say you had a pile of money at your disposal and you had to leave. That doesn't happen. So if you ran out of money, say you ran out of money. Say you didn't make a proper plan. Say when you had the income coming in, you didn't put it to work. Say that, but don't go and put the phone in your face and bash Africa and say all of these negative things about Africa or Tanzania as if you had all the money in the world and it just didn't work out well for you. Be honest. If you ran out of money, say you did and say why and how. Because a lot of y'all came here balling. Okay? A lot of y'all came here balling like you were going to, just live like you were on vacation forever and making these videos in my great apartment and look at the life I'm living and blah, 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 blah. And 1 year later, oh, I gotta go back and this thing and it was awful and this, that, and all. No, go back to this. I came here in July of 2020. The first time I saw Zanzibar was in December of 2020. I was here for 6 months working like a dog before I even saw or sat on a beach, before I took a break, okay? Because I understood what I needed to do, when I needed to do it, and how I needed to do it, okay? And it took me, another 4 or 5 months before I went anywhere again. Right? So, I didn't come here and ball out. Zanzibar is always going to be there. I'm always going to be here, right? Kilimanjaro is always going to be there. I'm going to be here, right? So I will go to these places and I'll explore and I'll go on vacation. This is not that my life is so great. Look at me balling out just for you channel, okay? And so don't come here with that kind of mentality. When I was back home in the States, I went on more vacations in the States than I did here, right? Even though I'm in a key destination for vacation. I see people come and they stay at the Exodus house and their plan is to live long term, right? And their mindset is completely different from the people who are here on vacation. So don't get it confused. Right? And a lot of people are like, well, I want to go on vacation first and enjoy myself and then I get serious. And that's important too. That's very, very, very important, right? But if you're here for the long term, you need to plan. You need to plan, right? Please do email me at exodusafrica1@gmail.com, right? So it depends on what your goals are. This is my email address. I will take consultations. All right. Yes, come through. I will take consultations. The Exodus House is still up and running and available, right? I will tell you all you need to know. I'm not going to get into any kind of advice about immigration, because everybody's situation is different when it comes to immigration. But if you know you're here for the long term, that means you're also here to start a business. So come here on a business class visa. Get a business class visa at the airport. Don't get a tourist visa if you know you want to be here forever. Okay, that's what I suggest you do. Yes, full time. Don't it? Clap them up. Clap them up for trying. Come on, we have to be better and kinder about this. I thank them for trying. They tried. They came all the way here. They packed their suitcases. They left all that they had behind, and they came to Africa, and they showed the world that, you know, that you can do this. You can try it with your family. They didn't plan to stay here for the long term, so we have to applaud them. They didn't go to Australia, right? They could have probably picked up better jobs and had more money had they gone to Australia, right? But they chose Africa, right? And we all know that it's no cakewalk. The roads aren't paved. The things are hella expensive. You ain't got no income coming in, and nobody's gonna hire you and give you the same kind of salary that you would in the West, right? So clap them up for that. Come on, I support them for it. I support them for making that move, and I support them for being honest about how things went down. And we have to be kinder, smarter, and better about this stuff on YouTube. We got to stop bashing people, and we got to stop negating people, okay? But you know, your whole entire journey and your objective changes if you're coming temporarily rather than if you're going permanently, right? And so from yes. That's right, Fitzroy. We're there for the long term, man. We're not here. What we call what my uncle said. We're not here for no pitch by day and fly by night and pitch by day. We're here for the long term. I'm somebody's mama, right? That's my number one job. I'm here to mother this child and see her through this storm and get her through the other side in Tanzania, right? And I didn't choose, Tanzania temporarily. And I didn't choose Tanzania accidentally. And I didn't choose Tanzania just because it was the only border that was open. Yes, it was open, and that speeded me up a little bit, but there was research involved. I already knew what East Africa was about, far different from West Africa. And I am glad I chose Tanzania. I really am. I love the people. I love the climate. I love the atmosphere. And I've had my bad days, right? But my bad days aren't the same kind of bad days if I had gone down to the DMV in the States over some parking ticket, to pay a quarter of your entire life over a parking ticket, or it's not the same kind of obstacles, right? And so your mental well-being is tied to your physical health. So if I have the atmosphere, as I said before, that you're getting the vitamin D and the quality food that you can live, you can have a better optimistic outcome. There is no reason for you to have a bad temper when you have, beautiful ocean and beautiful people and great food to eat and a happy life. You can, and that transfers. When you feel like, you're happy in your heart and in yourself, it transfers. A lot of people have had negative experiences here. And, thank God I'm going to, I haven't had the same. And I will go ahead and say part of that is attributed to me as a person. And I'm going to own that. I'm going to own it, and I'm going to speak that because it is true. There are things that happen to folks back home in the States that would never touch me. It cannot touch me because I'm a whole different kind of animal. The police stop me. I'm like, hey, good morning. How are you? What you doing today? It's hot. I have a whole entire conversation. The police stop me here all day, every day. Now, guess what? I stop them. I'm driving down the road. I see one I know. I stop. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? I got a bottle of water for you. I give them a bottle of water. I keep moving, right? So, learn how to live in the circumstances and be a pleasant person. Be a pleasant person. Be a blessing to those around you, right? Because that's what people are looking for. Make you don't kind of joy, right? I am joyful for what's up with the internet. Yeah, I'm joyful for being here. And there are challenges, right? You could be in the middle of something and the lights go out. It's happened, right? But I'm not going to have a panic attack over that. There is a lot of, lack of structure that you can point to and say, I can't do this. But there's also a different kind of lack of structure and leadership in the West. Okay, you can look at some things and go, that doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, the undignified way in which Black women are treated in the West, and the disrespect and the lack of love and the lack of community, that don't make no sense neither. So choose, which do you prefer? Me's, I prefer Africa all day long, all day long. And I'm sure a lot of the folks who have left and threw dirt behind them, if you ask them to choose, they would choose Africa. Okay, so big ups to the family that left. It was honest about their journey, right? Big ups to the people who support them and support their journey. I wish to see them back on the continent. I really think that they should probably email me, because I can teach them how to strategize what they have learned on the continent and how to pivot that. But at the same time, I have nothing negative to say about that video, their journey, nothing at all. It was a learning experience. Their plan was temporary. It ended up being permanent. And so the lack of budgeting, structuring, and planning comes from the original mindset of this is supposed to be temporary. But if the journey is supposed to be long term, then obviously you have to have those things in place. Your streams of revenue, your long term goals, your short term goals. What are you looking to accomplish out of the move? Yes, school fees are ridiculous. Homeschooling is an option, but what kind of child do you have, right? My kid is a social person. She's an only child. She needs to be around other children. And so she needs to be in an environment in which she is able to socialize and groom and grow with other children. What kind of child do you have? What kind of children do you have? Right? So I know homeschooling wouldn't have worked out for no Miss JoJo. Right? So that's what I have to say. Thank you to the sponsor who paid for this video. If you would like for me to make any kind of videos for you speaking about any particular topic, go ahead and email me exodusafrica1@gmail.com. I hope this video provided value and insight for you. I hope it gave you the kind of insight that you needed in order to make the decision about coming to Africa. Again, you must be an entrepreneur. This is not the journey for those who are not. Okay, you must be an entrepreneur. You must be able to see what is here and figure out how to transform that into an opportunity, not just for yourself, but also for the community around you. Okay, thank you all so much for watching. Bye-bye.